crowd roared as Commander Rel lifted his bruised fists into the air. He stood in the center of the great arena, his chest rising and falling, covered in sweat and blood. The last challenger lay unconscious at his feet, a massive alien warrior who had fallen after a brutal fight. Everyone thought it was over. The match was done, the human had won. The announcer's voice echoed. Victory goes to the human, Rel of Earth. Cheers filled the air as people from different species clapped, whistled, and celebrated. It was rare for a human to defeat so many in a row, especially in the grand trials of Velnax. Rel had done the impossible. 12 fights, 12 victories, all in one day, but even as the crowd screamed his name, Rel didn't smile. Something felt wrong. His instincts told him this wasn't over. His eyes scanned the entrance to the arena, and then he saw her. A small figure stood in the shadow of the gate. She wore a dark cloak with a hood, and her frame was tiny, barely up to Rel's chest. The guards looked confused, unsure if she was lost. But then she stepped forward with quiet confidence, and the announcer's voice trembled. We have an unexpected final challenger," the voice said. "From House Nyari, Lady Yari." The crowd went silent. Rel raised an eyebrow. "A noble house? What's a royal girl doing here?" Yari threw back her hood, and the arena gasped. She was beautiful, with glowing purple eyes and silver markings on her cheeks. Her skin was pale blue, and her voice was soft but strong. "I challenge the human," she said, looking straight at Rel. "As is my right under Velnax tradition." Rel hesitated. "You're injured already?" he said, noticing her shaking hands and the bandages on her arm. "You don't look ready for a fight." "I must do this," she replied, her voice steady but her body weak. "If you hold back, it won't count." Rel frowned. "You'll get hurt." Yari looked into his eyes. "Please." He nodded slowly. "I won't hold back." The bell rang. Yuri moved first, fast but unsteady. She swung her staff at him, but he dodged with ease. Her movements were sharp, trained, but her energy was fading with every step. Rel blocked her attacks gently at first, trying not to hurt her, but she gritted her teeth. "Fight me, human." Rel stepped forward and gave one strong push, knocking her back. She landed hard, gasping, but stood again. He kicked, she blocked, barely. Then she collapsed, falling to her knees, eyes rolling back. Her staff clattered to the ground. The crowd screamed. Medics rushed in, but Rel caught her before she hit the floor completely. Her body was cold, shaking, her lips pale. As he held her, she looked up at him with a weak smile. "Thank you for not going easy," she whispered. Rel looked confused. "What were you trying to prove?" But she didn't answer. She closed her eyes. "Hey, stay with me," he said quickly. "Someone help." A medic scanned her and said, "She's alive, but barely. She's exhausted, dehydrated, and her pulse is low." Rel carried her off the field, ignoring the confused faces and silent crowd. Something about her didn't make sense. Why would a noble girl, weak and injured, step into a death match? Why did she look relieved, not afraid? And what did she mean by not going easy? As he laid her on the medical bed, she stirred again. "I'm finally free," she whispered, before falling into deep sleep. Rel stood beside her, heart pounding. This wasn't just a fight. This was something bigger, and he wasn't done yet.
The medbay was quiet except for the soft beeping of machines. Yari lay still on the white bed, her body hooked to wires and glowing tubes. Her breathing was steady now, but her face still looked pale, weak. Commander Rel sat beside her, elbows resting on his knees, watching her with sharp, confused eyes. He had been in hundreds of battles, seen enemies fake injuries, seen traps in every corner. But this girl, she was different. She had smiled when she collapsed, and her last words echoed in his mind. Thank you for not going easy. What did that mean? Why would anyone want to fight just to lose? A soft chime sounded, and the door opened slowly. A nurse entered with a data tablet, her face nervous. She's stable, the nurse said, but weak from hunger, overuse of energy, and lack of rest. She knew she couldn't win, Rel muttered. So, why did she step into that ring? The nurse hesitated, then said quietly, maybe because she wanted to lose. Rel's eyes narrowed. Explain. The nurse looked around, lowered her voice, and leaned closer. Some alien houses, especially high ones like House Nyari, follow ancient traditions, brutal ones. In some cultures, being defeated by an outsider, especially a human, breaks their bond to their own clan. Rel stood up slowly, realization hitting him like a hammer. You're saying she threw herself into the fight, hoping I defeat her so she could be free? The nurse nodded. Yes, and if that's true, then right now, she's finally unowned, unchained. Rel looked at Yari again. She was just a girl, thin arms, scarred wrists, a face too tired for her age. But she had fought him, not with strength, but with courage. And now, after all the bruises and blood, she was free because of him. Hours passed. Rel stayed by her side, arms crossed, mind racing. When her eyes finally fluttered open, the first thing she saw was him. She blinked slowly, weak, but calm. Still here? She asked, her voice barely a whisper. Rel gave a slight nod. You collapsed after 1 minute of fighting me. I had to make sure you didn't die. She gave a soft chuckle, which turned into a cough. Then, I guess it worked, she said. What worked? Rel asked firmly, leaning closer. She turned her head slowly, looking him in the eyes. My bond to my family, to the house it's broken now. You saved me. Rel frowned. You could have died. I was already dying, Commander, she replied, from the inside. She explained everything. Her noble family had forced her into servitude, used her psychic powers to control others. She hated what they made her do, but in her culture, she couldn't leave unless she proved herself in combat. No one from her house would fight her. Only defeat by a foreign warrior would grant her freedom. And earthlings were rare in these trials. Until him, I waited 3 years, she whispered, for a human to enter the grand trials. You were my only hope. And you didn't hold back. Rel sat down slowly, trying to process everything. You fought just to lose, he said. That takes a different kind of strength. Silence filled the room. Then she asked, what happens now? Rel looked at her. You're free, right? She nodded. Yes, but I have nowhere to go, no one who will take me in, no home, no name. Rel stood up, stretched his shoulders, and said, then come with me, until you decide what's next. Yari blinked, shocked. Why would you help me? Because, Rel said, I don't like seeing chains on anyone, even invisible ones. Tears welled in her glowing purple eyes. Not from pain, but from something else, hope. She whispered, thank you, human. Rel gave a small nod and said, I'm not done yet. And for the first time in her life, Yari felt safe. Not because someone protected her, but because someone saw her.
The medbay lights dimmed to a warm glow as the artificial sun dipped beyond the city dome. Outside, the alien city of Valkaris buzzed with life, but inside the quiet room, a different kind of storm was brewing. Commander Rel stood by the window, arms folded, his gaze fixed on the horizon. Behind him, Yari sat upright in bed, her breathing slower now, her skin regaining some color, but her heart still carried the weight of years of silence. She finally spoke, her voice low but clear. You want to know what they did to me? Rel turned to her, nodding once. I want to know everything, Yari. Because something tells me this goes far beyond a duel. She looked down at her hands, her slender fingers trembling slightly. My family is one of the oldest houses in Yari space. Proud, cold, and cruel. Girls born weak, like me, are marked early. They call us echoes. Useful only if controlled. Rel listened silently, not interrupting. Yari continued. They trained me since I was 5, not to fight, but to obey, to listen, to absorb emotions and twist them. They used my psychic gift for interrogation, manipulation, even illusion, but never asked me what I wanted. Rel stepped closer, his voice firm. And you were never allowed to leave? She gave a bitter smile. There was only one way. Lose a trial to an outsider, preferably a human. But humans don't come here often, not for this kind of blood sport. So I waited. I watched and I prayed. Then you came, she whispered, eyes meeting his. I saw you fighting in the early rounds, and I knew this was my one chance. Rel sat on the edge of the medical bed. His voice quiet but strong. You risked everything. I had nothing left to lose, she replied. He nodded slowly. What happens now? You're free, but they won't like it. She looked away, pain flickering in her eyes. They'll send someone. Not to bring me back, no. To erase me, so the shame doesn't stain their name. Rel clenched his jaw. You mean they'll try to kill you? Yari nodded. Or worse. Make me disappear, without a trace. Silence filled the room again, thick and heavy. Then Rel stood and said, I won't let that happen. Yari blinked, surprised. Why would you protect me? I'm not your responsibility. He walked over to the control panel, checked the security settings, then turned to her. You fought with everything you had just to be free. I don't walk away from people like that. I'm not just a fighter, Yari. I'm a soldier. And soldiers protect the ones who can't protect themselves. Her lips trembled. And for a moment, she couldn't speak. No one had ever said words like that to her. Not even once. Suddenly, a loud beep came from the wall screen. A red warning flashed. Unauthorized access near the medbay. Rel's expression changed instantly. Eyes sharp, muscles tense. They're here already, he said. Yari's eyes widened. It's too soon. Rel grabbed his plasma pistol and stood by the door. Stay low. Don't move unless I say. Outside the hall, shadows moved fast, silent, professional. Rel watched through the security cam. 2 figures, cloaked in black, masked faces, armed, assassins. They weren't coming to talk. They were coming to erase a problem. Yari closed her eyes and whispered, They always clean up their shame. Rel stepped out into the hall before they reached the door. He didn't wait, he fired first, a bolt of blue light crashing into one attacker, sending him flying. The second one dodged and threw a smoke bomb. The corridor filled with thick black mist. In the chaos, Rel moved like lightning. He tackled the second assassin, punching hard, disarming him before the man could blink. Then he dragged both unconscious bodies to the side and scanned their identities. As expected, they were from House Nyari's secret guard. Back in the room, Yari watched as Rel returned, slightly bruised but calm. They sent elites, he said. But not good enough. Yari's voice shook. This is just the beginning. Rel sat down again, this time closer. Then we'll end it before it grows. You're not running anymore. You're fighting back. Her eyes widened, fear and strength mixing together inside her. I don't know how, she said. Rel reached into his satchel and placed a small device in her hand. It was a hollow knife, light, elegant, deadly. Then I'll teach you, he said. For the first time in her life, Yari didn't feel like prey. She felt like someone who could learn to fight, to stand, to survive, and maybe, just maybe, to win.
The night in Valkyris was never truly dark. The alien city glowed from above and below, lit by layers of floating lights, neon roads, and hovercraft traffic. But even in all that light, shadows still moved. Commander Rel walked beside Yari through a narrow alley behind the med center. They had escaped quietly, no alarms, no noise. But Rel knew that silence could be more dangerous than sirens. Yari wore a long hooded cloak now, hiding her pale blue skin and silver facial markings. Her steps were quiet, but her eyes kept darting around. She wasn't used to freedom, and it showed in the way she walked, like someone expecting to be dragged back at any moment. Rel checked the data chip in his hand. It displayed a hidden route through the city's understructure, smuggler tunnels, maintenance ducts, old transport paths long forgotten by normal citizens. They had to reach a safe zone called the Drop, a place where no house dared to look. Yari finally spoke. Even if we make it to the Drop, they'll follow, won't they? They put a price on me. Rel gave a small nod. Most likely. She swallowed hard. How much? He glanced at his screen and said calmly, 50,000 creds alive. She stopped walking, her breath caught in her throat. That's royal bounty level. Yes, he said, and that means bounty hunters, mercenaries, even ex-soldiers will come for you. They don't care who you are. They just want to get paid. Yari looked at her hands that had never held a weapon until last night. I'm not ready, she whispered. Rel stopped and looked at her. No one ever is, he said, but we train, we adapt, and we survive. Suddenly, a strange humming sound echoed through the alley. A light flickered above them, and then, boom! A blast hit the wall beside them. Rel grabbed Yari and pulled her down behind cover. A robotic voice called out from the rooftops. Target identified. House Nyari escapee orders. Capture or terminate. Yari's heart raced. They sent a drone. Worse, Rel said. They hired a seeker. A seeker was a hybrid hunter, part machine, part brain, programmed to track anything with a pulse. Almost no one escaped a seeker alive. Rel took out his EMP spike, but he knew it wouldn't be enough alone. The seeker dropped into the alley like a shadow, metal limbs hissing, red eyes glowing. It scanned Yari and hissed. Priority target confirmed. Rel stepped in front of her, raising his plasma pistol. Then you'll have to go through me. The seeker charged forward with lightning speed. Rel fired 3 shots. 2 missed. 1 hit the shoulder, but barely slowed the thing down. It slammed into him, sending him crashing into a wall. Yari screamed, falling back as the seeker grabbed her arm. Pain shot through her nerves as the cold metal tightened, but something deep inside her stirred. Not fear, something else. She closed her eyes and focused. She remembered the training they forced on her. The mental control, the energy pulse, the illusions. She wasn't a warrior, but she was still powerful. Yari screamed, not from pain, but from rage. Her hands glowed purple, and in a blast of psychic force, she sent the seeker flying backwards. It crashed into a trash unit, sparks flying from its body. Rel got up slowly, holding his ribs. You did that, he asked, stunned. Yari nodded, shaking. I didn't know if it would work. The seeker tried to stand again, glitching and sparking. Rel rushed forward and jammed the EMP spike into its core. With a loud crack, the seeker froze, twitched once, then collapsed. Smoke filled the air. Silence returned. Rel turned to Yari. You saved both of us. She was breathing hard, eyes wide, hands still glowing faintly. I just reacted, she said. I didn't want to go back. He placed a hand on her shoulder. You didn't just react, Yari. You fought. She looked up at him, and for the first time, her fear began to change into something stronger. Not confidence yet, but something close. They moved again, fast and quiet. disappearing into the deeper parts of the city. Every bounty hunter would be watching now, every screen flashing her face. But she was no longer a silent prisoner. She was becoming someone else. And Rel knew she wouldn't run forever. She would learn to fight. And when she did, House Nyari would regret ever putting a target on her back.
The underworld of Valkyris was a different world, far below the shining towers and noble chambers. This place was built from metal, rust, and broken dreams. No sunlight ever reached these tunnels. Only flickering lights, dripping water, and quiet footsteps. Rel and Yari moved through narrow passages, past rusted doors and walls covered with strange symbols. Every turn felt dangerous. Every sound made Yari flinch. She pulled her cloak tighter, but the shadows still seemed to reach for her. Rel walked ahead, confident but alert. He knew these tunnels. He had once chased war criminals through these same paths, long before he became a public champion. But this time he wasn't hunting. He was protecting. At last, they reached a gate sealed with layered locks. Rel pressed a hidden switch and knocked twice on the metal wall. A soft voice spoke through a crack. "Rel of Earth, do you bring trouble?" "I bring truth," Rel replied. "And coin." The gate creaked open, revealing a tall woman with glowing cybernetic eyes and half her face made of chrome. She smiled without warmth. "Welcome back, old soldier," she said. "You're bleeding again." "Not mine," Rel said, gesturing to Yari behind him. "She's the one they're after." The woman's eyes scanned Yari, pausing on her silver facial markings. "House Nyari," she said quietly. "That makes her dangerous. Or hunted," Rel replied. "That's why we're here." The woman's name was Krav, leader of the drop. She ran the only safe zone in the underworld. If you could pay, she didn't ask questions. She let them in and guided them to a small chamber deep inside her territory. Yari looked around, her eyes wide. There were refugees, exiles, smugglers, and even war survivors, all hiding from something. "No one here is innocent," Krav said, noticing her stare. "But all of them were betrayed first." Rel and Krav spoke quietly near a large table covered in old weapons and star charts. "She has a bounty on her head, and her house won't stop until she's gone," he explained. "I need transport off-world." Krav scratched her chin. "That kind of favor isn't cheap." "I still have favors owed," Rel said. "Use them," Krav nodded. "I'll see what I can do." Meanwhile, Yari sat near a fire vent, trying to steady her breathing. The heat reminded her of her old chambers. Always cold, always quiet, but here even the warmth felt earned. A small child approached her. An alien girl with bright green eyes and a missing arm. "Are you scared too?" the child asked, holding out a piece of dried fruit. Yari blinked, surprised, then smiled softly. "Yes," she said, "but I'm learning not to be." She took the fruit and thanked the girl. That night, Yari couldn't sleep. She sat on the floor of her room, holding the hollow knife Rel had given her. She activated it, the blade glowing softly in the dark. She swung it once, slowly, carefully. Her hands shook, but she didn't stop. Again and again she practiced, quietly, patiently. Rel watched from the doorway, arms crossed. "You're not bad," he said, making her jump. "I'm not good either," she replied. "That's what practice is for," he said, walking in and kneeling beside her. "Let me show you something." He took her hand and guided her movements. Not just strikes, but defense, balance, rhythm. She listened closely, focused like never before. This wasn't training for punishment, this was training for survival. Later, as she wiped sweat from her brow, Yari looked at Rel. "Why do you care so much?" she asked. "You don't even know me." Rel thought for a moment, then said, "Because someone once pulled me out of the dark, too." And because I don't like bullies, no matter how rich their clothes are. Before Yari could reply, Krav returned with news. I have a ship leaving tomorrow, she said. But it won't be easy. The docks are under patrol, and the house may already know you're down here. Rel looked at Yari, then at Krav. We'll make it, he said. We don't run anymore. Yari nodded, gripping the hollow knife tightly. This time, she wouldn't hide in the shadows. She would walk into the fire, not as a prisoner, but as someone choosing her own path.
The underworld tunnels rumbled as the ship's departure countdown echoed across the drop. Krav's team had done their part, clearing the route through old cargo tunnels to Dock 17. But Rel knew the hard part wasn't getting there. It was getting out. Yari adjusted the straps of her travel pack, her cloak gone now, replaced by practical armor, light, simple, and fitted to her small frame. The hollow knife rested at her side, and her hands were steady. She had trained for this moment, even if just for days. Are you ready? Rel asked, standing beside her with his blaster rifle loaded. She gave a quiet nod. More than I've ever been. Krav gave them one last warning before they left. There's movement near the docks, unmarked patrols, not local police. They came in silent, fast, expensive. This smells like royal hunters. Yari froze for a second, her breath catching. Royal hunters, she whispered. Rel's eyes narrowed. They sent family. House Nyari didn't trust bounty hunters to handle high-level secrets. For something like this, for a runaway noble, only the royal bloodline would act. And they didn't fail. They moved fast through the old service tunnels, ducking security cams and bypassing guard drones. Every step brought them closer to freedom, and closer to danger. As they reached the edge of Dock 17, Yari suddenly stopped. She felt something, familiar pressure in the back of her skull. A presence she hadn't felt in years. Rel, she said quietly. He's here. Who? My cousin Lior, she replied. He used to train me. Her voice shook, not from fear, but from something deeper. Memory, pain. He was always stronger, always cruel, and he enjoyed watching me break. Rel raised his weapon. Then let's make sure this time, he's the one who breaks. They stepped into the open loading bay, and there he was, waiting like a shadow, tall, armored, with glowing blue tattoos and a royal cape. Lior stood between them and the ship, flanked by two silent guards. His eyes locked on Yari, and he smiled coldly. So it's true, he said. You've lowered yourself to walk beside a human. You bring shame to your blood. Yari stepped forward, her voice steady. You lost the right to speak of blood when you locked me in chains. I am no longer yours to control. Lior's eyes flickered with anger. You think a human's protection makes you safe? He hissed. You are still one of us, and that means we finish what we start. He raised his hand, and his guards moved in. Rel stepped in front of Yari, firing first. 2 shots struck one guard, sending him crashing into a crate. The other charged with a plasma spear, but Yari stepped forward this time. She activated her hollow knife, dodged the first strike, and slashed across the guard's arm. He screamed, dropped his weapon, and Yari kicked him hard, knocking him down. Rel turned to her, surprised. You're getting good at this, he said. I had a great teacher, she replied, breathless. Now only Lior remained, and he was smiling. You think I'll fall like them? He asked. I trained you, little cousin. I know your every move. Yari didn't flinch. Then let me show you the one move you never let me try. She closed her eyes for a moment. Then her body began to glow with psychic energy, purple light surrounding her, swirling like smoke. Lior's eyes widened. You don't have the strength, he said, stepping back. But she did. She moved faster than before, her blade humming through the air. Lior blocked once, twice, but she twisted around him. She didn't strike to kill. She struck to knock the blade from his hand. And when he lunged again, Rel fired, hitting him in the shoulder. Lior dropped to one knee, gasping. Yari stood over him, blade to his throat. "I'm not your servant," she said, voice trembling with power. "I'm not your tool." She stepped back, deactivating the blade. "You're not worth killing." Rel pulled her back gently. "We have to go." As they ran up the ramp of the ship, alarms blared behind them. Krov's crew waved from the cockpit. "You made it just in time." As the ship launched into the stars, Yari looked down at Valkyris one last time, the place where she was caged, beaten, controlled. And now, left behind, Rel sat beside her, bruised and tired. "You did it," he said. "You really did it." Yari looked ahead at the stars. "I'm not done yet," she whispered. The stars stretched endlessly before them. Outside the ship's window, the galaxy glowed like scattered fireflies in the black ocean of space. Yari stood quietly, her hand resting on the cold glass, her reflection barely visible against the stars. She wasn't trembling anymore. Her hands didn't shake, her breath was steady, and for the first time in her life, her heart wasn't full of fear. It was full of questions. Behind her, Commander Rel leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, watching her with calm eyes. "How does it feel," he asked softly, "to not belong to anyone?" Yari turned, a small smile forming on her lips. "Strange," she said, "and beautiful. I don't know what tomorrow looks like, but I know it won't be a cage." They sat in the common room of the ship as it drifted in autopilot. Rel was busy cleaning his rifle while Yari practiced short blade movements with a hollow knife. Her strikes were smoother now, her form more confident. She wasn't the girl who had collapsed in an arena. She was someone else, someone rising. "I've been thinking," Rel said, "you've got skill and power, and now that no one's hunting you, you've got choices. You don't have to hide anymore." Yari paused, lowering the blade. "What do I do with freedom, Rel?" she asked, her voice almost a whisper. "I've never had it before. I don't know what I'm supposed to be." Rel looked at her and replied, "You're not supposed to be anything. You get to decide. You want to join Earth Alliance? We'll train you. You want to explore the outer colonies? I know people. You want to disappear and build a quiet life? I'll get you there." She was quiet for a moment, eyes searching his face. "And if I choose to stay with you?" He didn't answer right away. Then he smiled, tired but warm. "Then I'd be lucky." Their moment was interrupted by a soft ping from the ship's console. "Incoming message, priority level, confidential." Rel tapped the screen, and an image appeared. A human general from Earth Alliance HQ. "Commander Rel," the general said, "your recent victory in the grand trials has drawn attention, as has your extraction of the alien girl. She's on our radar now. We want to know if she's a threat or an asset." Rel frowned. "She's a person, not a weapon. She risked everything to be free." The general replied, "Then give her a chance to prove herself. There's a training station on New Terra they take in special cases. If she wants a place, it's hers." Yari stepped forward, hearing every word. "I don't need a throne or a title," she said. "I just want to protect others the way I was never protected. Maybe I do want to learn." Rel nodded. "Then let's go to New Terra." The ship changed course, sliding smoothly into jump coordinates. As the stars twisted into light, Yari sat in the co-pilot seat beside Rel. She wasn't a passenger anymore. She was part of the journey. Later that night, as Rel dozed in the crew bunk, Yari wandered the halls of the ship. She passed the med bay, the room where she first woke up. She paused there, remembering her old self, the scared, broken version. She whispered to the empty room, "Thank you for not giving up on me." The next morning, Rel found her on the observation deck, watching the sunrise on New Terra from orbit, the golden light reflected in her purple eyes. You nervous? He asked. A little, she replied. But this time, I get to walk in on my own terms. As the ship landed, Yari turned to Rel and smiled. No chains, no mask, no orders. I walk in as me, and I'll be right behind you, he said. Together, they stepped out into the new world, not as warrior and weapon, not as protector and victim, but as two souls who had survived the fire and chosen freedom.